All right, Lexington football fans, we're back with our Wildcat football preview show and our rivalry game against the River Bluff Gators, where the Wildcats hold a 7-4 all-time series record with the first meeting coming in 2014. I wasn't there, but it sounds like a dramatic dogfight, 16-15 Wildcat victory. I'm Athletic Director Dustin Curtis, joined by head football coach Stuart Young. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, man. Let's bounce backward a little bit before we get into the big rivalry. Go to the I think I joked around with somebody the other day. You get to play LHS's kids back-to-back weeks. White Knoll opening in 2000, and I guess River Bluff opening in 13 or 14. I can't remember if they played varsity football that first year of open or not. But just kind of give us the White Knoll recap. In what areas did we fall short a little bit? Obviously, we didn't come out on top on Friday night. But what other things did you see on film that were encouraging?
We put ourselves in a hole early. Some turnovers. I thought defensively we played well and some stops. Offensively, we actually moved the ball really well when you look back at the stat line. We ran the ball well. Markel almost had 100 yards. And we kind of moved the ball better in the second half. Had a fake punt that was, got us a little momentum. We never really had the momentum until that. And then we came back later and turned it over again and didn't get some stops in the second half that we needed to stay around. But encouraging, our effort was good. Our kids played hard. And we're growing. We're evolving, and we're growing, and we're looking forward to putting it all together hopefully tonight.
Yeah. You just standing on the sideline last week, you are looking at a White Knoll team. It's very well coached. Coach Pelham's done a great job. And they got a lot of big kids. They certainly changed a lot as a program and as a football team in the last 3 or 4 years, and obviously that's one of the teams that has kind of turned this region into what some could argue is one of the deepest regions in the state of South Carolina now. Especially with White Knoll and Irmo and Dutch Fork have all at least played in the Final Four. All three of them, at least 2 out of the last 3 years, and they've all three played for a state championship in the last 3 years. So just kind of an interesting time, to be in this region, in this Lake Murray region, so to speak, with how well some of these teams are playing and the collection of athletes that they have right now. But our kids did compete, and they play hard like they always do. So proud of those guys. Your players of the week last week, and we had MVP Caleb Strote. We had offensive MVP Markel Bird, defensive MVP Keegan Kaufman. Special teams with Sawyer Headley had a number of good returns. Wildcat of the Week, Brennan Rawl. Also Wildcat of the Week, Lawson Ott. I'll let you explain those two guys' situation here in a moment. And also your sub-varsity players that stood out, Evan Geiger and Jaden Ringer. Just kind of go through the list a little bit and highlight what those guys did to earn those awards.
Yeah, I'll start from the bottom and go up. Jaden's he's got a body of a lineman that we're looking forward to watching him grow physically. He's got a little dog in him, and he goes hard, and he's going to be a really, really good player for us in the future. Evan Geiger, he's started the first game of the year at quarterback, moved him to tight end and quarterback, and now he's mostly tight end, and then all of a sudden we play in JV, and he's on defense and playing linebacker. So he does everything we ask him to do, and made some big stops, big tackles like the week before from a position he's hardly even practiced. So excited about him. He's an all-in guy. He's a program guy. Lawson and Brennan, we had to go to senior night, and they couldn't play. And we felt like with what they've contributed to our team this year, they were injured, and we felt like they deserved to be recognized because I saw the hurt in their eyes when they couldn't dress out for senior night. However, Lawson is going to be able to play this week with a big old club on his hand. So, he did get cleared to do that. So that's exciting for him.
Maybe more pass breakups than interceptions this week.
Yeah, I don't know if he can pick one. Yeah, I don't know if he can pick it off. Maybe he can one-handed. Sawyer, yes, great to have him back. Sawyer, I think he had over 100 yards returning, kickoff returns, and so if it's good to have him back as a weapon, and he's always been a steady leader. He was injured for a time this year, a couple of games he missed, but he's back. Keegan Kaufman, sophomore, some games he starts, some games he doesn't, but he never complains. And he ended up being our defensive MVP with, I think, 11 or 12 tackles. And then offensively, like I said earlier, Markel almost had the century mark. If we'd have known, probably would have tried to get him that. You don't really know that until after the game, but he runs hard and does everything we ask. And then obviously we've had Caleb numerous times as our MVP, and he deserves it. I'm not one of those coaches that just say, well, he's gotten it this many times, let's give it to somebody else. I've always been one to make it a true MVP, and he's done everything we've asked him to do. And if he gets it again this week, we'll give it to him again because he does everything, including the prince of the show that he's.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. That he's not going to be the prince tonight, but
because of the game.
That's right. Well, we had a kind of an interesting alignment this week because Sub-Varsity played a couple nights ago just because of all the things that were already booked in Wildcat Hollow. Had middle school championships. Congrats to Beechwood on a fantastic year. They came up just short against Newberry. And then so we played Sub-Varsity Tuesday night because we couldn't last night both of our girls and boys cross-country teams won the region championship, and so congrats to them. But so a full week in the Hollow, and so just kind of jump back about White Knoll, talk about the Sub-Varsity performances last week real quick, and then how did we fare Tuesday night against the Gators?
Well, like you said, there's been such a whirlwind with the Sub-Varsity. As a whole, we competed B team all year long. We beat White Knoll and came up short against River Bluff in overtime. Ended up with a 7-2 record, and the two losses were 3 points and 2 points. And the elements Tuesday night were awful, and that affected a little bit. Not making excuses, but that affected a little bit about what we could do throwing the ball and catching the ball, and so we kind of had to grind it Tuesday night. But River Bluff has got a good team as well, and look forward to those teams competing in the future. Both of those groups are good. JV, White Knoll, we competed well. It was a very close game, competitive game. They came out on top, and then Tuesday night we sort of dominated from start to finish against River Bluff. So those. Our B team was 7-2. JV ended up 5-3, so that's a combined. Not great at math, but I think that's 12-5.
Sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds good. So that's encouraging. That's encouraging for the future, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Well, River Bluff kind of moving into the big rivalry game here tonight. Like us, their only region win so far versus Chapin, 33-7, which is an exceptionally similar score to the one we had. Also a common win versus Gilbert. They won 14-7. How excited are you for the first big rivalry?
Well, let me tell you a story. I'm a defensive coordinator at Saluda, and Coach Doug Painter is good friends with Coach Bennett, and so it's their first year, and they were playing a JV schedule, and we get invited to come play them, and so we're like, oh yeah, we and Burns was also invited. Burns and they were going to play a doubleheader of like JV and varsity. Well, they put Burns against their JV team and put Saluda against their varsity team, and it was homecoming. And we get there thinking we're gonna be playing their JV team, and no, we were playing the second part, and we were playing the varsity. And they came out and they had their headsets on, and they were homecoming, and it was coming out with this smoke, and they literally could have named the score that night against our Saluda JV team, and they were playing their varsity, and so they kind of set us up there. I think it was like 50-something to nothing at halftime. But yeah, that's the only time I've been in there. But man, I tell you, we're excited. And when I first got here, I asked questions. What's a rivalry? And they say, well, it's bookend. It's bookend of the season. It's the beginning and the end. Gilbert and then River Bluff is who our players really want to play. And so I've been looking forward to it. And I know our kids are as well. So, yeah, very similar common opponents. They don't tell everything, but they do tell a good story when you look at common opponents, and the scores are very similar.
Yeah.
The way the games went are very similar. So, it's a very tight toss-up, if you will, going into it when you look at it that way. And so we've got to execute, no doubt about it, and we've got to play our most complete game, mentally and physically.
Sure.
We've got to do that.
Well, it kind of seems like, the few times I've seen them this year, you maybe look at some scores. I think maybe talking to their AD. I get to hang out with Coach Peckham in some meetings and stuff, and he says they're probably a little bit better on the offensive side than the defensive. So talk about their offense and kind of what challenges they present. I know they've had some change up at quarterback here recently and things like that. So what are we looking for from our defense tonight?
Well, yeah, they've played 3 different quarterbacks in varsity games this year. Now, one of those played Tuesday night, so obviously he's not available. But they've played a freshman here lately along with a junior, and so they've kind of played them both. It's almost like who's got the hot hand, and they'll play that. They've got a really good running back, number 4. He's a bruiser. He can go. Really good receivers that can go around. So they're very similar to us. They got an H-back and kind of power you, and then they'll spread you out and try to throw it around the ballpark, and they do a good job at it. They scramble out of there and gain some yards when you pressure them. They've got a really good offensive line. Size-wise, they're big, like everybody else in this region.
Yeah.
And so they can lean on you a little bit. So they got a good plan there. Coach Parks does a good job. Obviously, he's a well-known and respected coach here in the state. Defensively, they get after it, run more of a 4-man front. We kind of run our 3-man most of the time. They run a 4-man front, and they play different coverages. They can play man some, and they'll play some cover 2, cover 4. But they're also very well coached on that end. So you're getting into a big game. Things that matter in big games is like I've always talked about is discipline. It's a rivalry. We can't let the emotions get the best of us in key moments. I thought we did that poorly Friday night against White Knoll at times, and we've corrected it, and hopefully it won't happen again. But got to play hard, which I don't think that'll be a problem tonight on either side, offense or defense. I think you'll see a team come out and play hard tonight. But yeah, got to play smart. Not making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Vegas might, if they did high school lines, might have this one pretty close to the pick'em line. I think we've probably safe to say we've been a little more consistent on defense than offense at times this year. I know we've had a lot more of our injury issues on that side of the ball, et cetera. So interesting to see, both teams fairly balanced, but maybe one a little bit better on one side of the ball than the other, and it's kind of opposite. So should be a really cool, interesting game tonight. It's going to be in a great environment. So it's Thursday, so talk about the short week of practice. How has that impacted the team, the group? Is it a huge deal here in week 10, so to speak? And how has the team responded and prepared for that?
Well, it's just like I said earlier, bookended of the season. We started the season playing on Thursday night, and we finished the season playing on a Thursday night. It's rained all week. The week with Gilbert, it rained all week this week. We're on the road. It's just it's eerily similar. The weeks that we're, good thing is, going in, go back all the way back to the beginning. You've had all preseason to kind of be ready, so the short week didn't really affect you that much. And then this is week 10, so you've played so many weeks that the short week, doesn't necessarily affect you as much as it would earlier in the middle of the year. So we're not going to use anything as an excuse. We got the most out of what we could do this week practicing. Thank God we have a turf field still, or now.
Yeah, amen.
That helps a lot because our practice fields would have been horrendous.
Coach, I was up in the press box last night before the sun went down, and you could see the track field and how wet the grass was and puddles everywhere. And that was my thought was, man, I'm so glad Coach Young had a turf field all week long.
Yeah. But we got as much as we could out of it. The kids responded well this week. They didn't let that become a factor, and we're not going to use that as an excuse, assuredly. But yeah, the winner, we could win I know you've talked about it or maybe talking about it later, but big game playoff implications for both teams. The winner could possibly host a playoff game, and that would be really, really cool.
Coach, we hadn't hosted a playoff game here, and I guess that might be my fault, but we haven't hosted a playoff game here since 2022. So just kind of in year one, what would that kind of mean to you in Big 5A Division I football?
Oh man, I tell you, it would propel us forward quicker, for sure. If we could, as a program, be able to come back here to Wildcat Hollow in the first year and be able to host a playoff game and maybe continue to build on what we're trying to build here, and that would be huge. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the end of the world as a program if it doesn't work out that way, win or lose. There's not necessarily set in stone that we would host, but mathematically there's a chance, and so that's a carrot that we've dangled out this week as well to our seniors, especially. Another chance, get one more chance here, and so hopefully that can be some extra motivation for our guys.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
Well, Coach, I know you got pretty similar keys to the game, and we're going to ask you to give those to our listeners again because I know you're a man of consistency. But what are you most looking forward to tonight, and what do our kids need to show on the field to accomplish the victory?
Well, I'm most looking forward to our kids competing and having fun. I think that's something that sometimes we lose as coaches and as players. It becomes more of a job and not a game. And I want our kids to have fun tonight. Enjoy the environment, take it all in. The sounds and the student sections and the bands and all of that stuff. Have fun. That's one thing I want them to do tonight is just play loose and have fun. But at the same time, we've got to be focused. I felt like sometimes going on the road sometimes helps your focus when you're at home and you've got these things going on around you, senior nights and this and that. Sometimes that can affect the kids' mentality. And I think getting on the bus and being quiet for 30 minutes and pulling up to an environment that's hostile can bring you closer together. And so I think that we're going to try to use that too as our, hey, we're going on the road. I know Coach Parks said back in May when I was sitting there at the Rotary Club that they were going to have the best environment in the state. So I'm looking forward to playing in that environment tonight. So, keep them together, have fun, protect football. We got to create some turnovers. I think we've only created 9 all year, one a game. We've got to create some turnovers and have a spark on special teams, those kind of things. And we did that Friday night. We need to do all that this week. Keep the ball, take the ball, and be good on special teams.
Yeah. Well, before I close out, this has been a busy, amazing week here at LHS. Monday night, got to watch our volleyball team. We did fall to Wando in the playoffs in the second round, but just want to say I'm super proud of those girls and that coaching staff. I think graduated about every starter from last year's team, and these girls battled their tails off all year long and had a lead in every set against Wando in the middle of the set, not just early, but at every set we had a lead there in about the middle, and Wando would just kind of take off a little bit. So congrats to the Warriors, but really proud of our girls. And again, want to mention our cross-country team is about to start competing for qualifiers and then state championship coming up here in a few weeks. But man, what an unbelievable regular season they've had so far with guys and girls winning multiple large races against a lot of really solid programs, and I can't wait to watch them compete for a state championship. And speaking of state championships, me and Jennifer McNair, principal, got to spend all day up at Carolina Country Club on Tuesday, and I would be remiss if I did not congratulate Coach Brandon Smith, helping these ladies earn the 15th state championship for girls golf here at Lexington since 2006. And if that's not a dynasty, I don't know what is. But congrats to those girls, especially Taryn and Gia, for getting to go out like that. It was stressful. If you know anything about golf, it was very up and down. And but we hit a big birdie on number 18 that kind of sealed a one-stroke lead for us by Lyles. And then Gia went on to par her last hole to hold on. So been a fun week. Love to have some more fun and things to celebrate tonight, Coach Young. So listeners, thanks for joining Coach and I. We're excited about this game and excited to continue some great things happening here at LHS this week. Thanks to Paul Calhoun for partnering and supporting Lexington Athletics. And I know both schools are going to have a rowdy student section tonight, the night before Halloween here, and it's going to be a fun, physical game as it always is. 7:30 kickoff on this special Thursday night, like a big Thursday, like old Carolina Clemson, big Thursday, huh? Should be a big time in the 12th meeting between these two fresh rivals, and we'll see everyone over at the Swamp with head coach Stuart Young. I'm Dustin Curtis signing off, everyone. Go get 'em, Wildcats, and hail to thee.